Welcome back to Talking Story. My name is John Minton, and it is the last day of the year, New Year's Eve. We're going to put this out a little bit early because I expect each and every one of you to be overdoing it in the party category tonight. Seeing in 2024, I hope it's filled with nothing but 5-star reads and the culmination of all your hard work and all your hopes and dreams shower you in 2024. So go out there, drink a little too much, kiss whoever you need to for New Year's, and have just a great time. So that's why we're getting this out a little bit early, so you don't have to be interrupted in party time tonight. But it is that time again, that weekly reader time, that check-in on how the week was, where we are in our reading schedule. And I finished Words of Radiance. Put out a little short after I got past chapter 56, but I have finished the whole thing, and wow. I mean, I have not put out my top 10 reads of 2023 because I was reading this the last few days of the year, and I just felt I can't put out that list until I have read Book 2 of Stormlight. There's just no way. It's going to crash the list somewhere. Is it one? Is it, where is it going to fit? More on that later. And I was not disappointed. This is just an absolute masterclass in world building. I mean, so many of us love this genre and are pulled to these stories because of world building. There is not one facet of this world that is not examined. You've got economy, you've got ecology, you've got class structure, you've got history and lore, you've got fashion. I mean, each and everything is thought through and in there, and it is absolutely fascinating. But not only is the world building just off the chart, as most of Brandon Sanderson's works are, it's completely interwoven and integral to the plot and character development. As the characters themselves are finding out about the world they live in and what has gone on in the past in this series of cataclysms and societal regrowth, as they're peeling away the layers and understanding the mystery of this, whether it be through scholarship, whether it be through visions, whether it be through understanding a magic system, whether it be through just trying to understand themselves and the wounds they carry from what's happened to them in their character lives previous and how they fit in this world. The world building is integral and there and pushes everything forward. It continues to raise the stakes of the entire story, and it continues to permeate every facet of the storytelling. It doesn't just set a stage for the story to play out on. It actually moves the plot forward. It actually informs the character arcs because they're all trying to figure out these mysteries of the world they live in and what's happened in the past. And it is just masterfully done. It is that deft magician stroke that Brandon Sanderson can pull off because he is so amazing at world building. So much you recognize in that medieval setting that we all know and love in fantasy, but just enough tweaks and changes to make it something completely different. And then on top of all that, not just the world building, but an entire cosmology. Where does this fit in with the overall galaxy that he's creating through the Cosmere? Again, this is why I compare him not to Tolkien or other writers of prose in this genre, but I compare him to Jack the King Kirby. And any comic fans out there understand that, or Stan Lee, someone that's building an entire universe. And I just continue to be gobsmacked by these reads, and this was absolutely no different. And I just, even though it's a mass market, in this case, a paperback, the presentation of it as well, with the artwork interspersed throughout, representing Shallan's sketches and things like that. I mean, just gorgeous. There's no stone left unturned as he's using his cachet in this fantasy market, which he's come to hold so much sway over as a huge seller of these books. to ask for and continue to get, art, interior art, and different things as far as a representation of the overall piece goes that we get in our hands. And it just the more I go along this journey of catching up with the Cosmere, the more I appreciate his work ethic as an artist and what he's able to produce and put out there. And where will this fit in my top 10? I can promise you it'll be there, but I'm not going to spoil the party. So after I finish that, and I mean, maybe I'll be able to get a full review of this out. I'm not sure. I don't know how the whole month's going to shake out. But after I did finish this, I also picked up and grabbed, and this was the first book in my most looked or sought after for 2024, Glass Box by J. Michael Straczynski. I went ahead and picked that up thanks to NetGalley and Blackstone Publishing. I got an advanced reader copy, and I had to read it electronically, which is not my jam, but I just couldn't wait, so I had to do it. So I will be putting a full review of that out because I got an early reader copy in exchange for a full review. So that'll be coming out. But I really liked it. There was so much to like about it. I wasn't blown away. I didn't love it. It wasn't what I was hoping for, I think, or expecting from the creator of Babylon 5. It was something a little bit different, and I'm kind of letting it ruminate with me a little bit before I really get into the full review. It's a very interesting story. It's a protest tale. It's a cautionary tale. It's not, I wouldn't really say it's science fiction. It's just a blink into our future, like by weeks or months, in some respects. But a very well researched, very harrowing, in a lot of ways. And I thought layered to the point where there are some themes and plots going, and maybe for me they were just going at cross purposes, and I wanted a little bit more time spent with some than the others, and there were so many going on that I didn't get as much as I wanted, but it was very emotional. And I'll be covering the whole thing in the full review coming out this week. Just very, very simply what it's about. We've got a main character of Riley Diaz who is raised by some radical protesters, watchdogs of what our leaders are doing, and ready to take the streets when they think they go too far. And what's happening with as more polarization goes to the extremes in our world, in our politics, what happens legally against those times of protest, and where she is picked up and ends up, and where she has to spend some time is possibly like a place for the mentally challenged, because they don't have places set up to house them yet. So she's kind of coming into contact with people that are there for totally different reasons than her. And there's some great emotional strokes to it and some wonderful emotional moments that I really did appreciate. But overall, it didn't all work with me, and I'm just letting it percolate a little bit until I can have all of my thoughts, and I will have them all this coming week. And that kind of leads us up to last week on the channel. We got out our January TBR, everything that we have coming up in January. If you have not checked that out, check it out. There is a buddy read that's going to be starting up this month with me and 5 other folks on BookTube and on Twitter. And it's going to be Brian Lee Durfee's trilogy, and we're going to do 1 book a month for the first 3 months or the first quarter of the year, starting off with Forgetting Moon. But the whole month is laid out there, so check it out if you haven't already. And then also, we got out last week my top 10 list of my top 10 moments of The Warlord Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell. And I had the most fun doing that. It was just a blast to make that video because you guys voted that as my birthday read, and it paid off so huge for me. It was such a great read and such a special read. And for me, it was absolute magic. And check it out if you haven't. If you have not read the trilogy, because it is chock-a-block full of spoilers, because it's my favorite moments. So what else is coming up this coming week on the channel? Well, on Tuesday, our regular Tuesday video will be my top 10 reads of 2023. And I cannot wait to get it out. I have finished my reads for 2023. I'm starting my first read of 2024. You can tell I haven't even cracked this open yet. It is the final book in Mike Shackle's Last War trilogy, and I love the first two books so much it actually made my top 10 fantasy series. If you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out as well. It's on the channel. So I'm getting going on this today as I enjoy a day off, and so I've finished all my reads for 23. I have the list right here, and it is my top 10 with just a couple honorable mentions because I can't let them take away my booktuber card, not having more than 10 books to talk about. So that's going to be dropping on Tuesday. Where will this fill in? Will it overtake the number one spot? And I know you guys know what my number one book is because I've been on so many other collab videos everywhere saying what my number one choice was. Did it overtake that? Is it just below that? Is it in the top 3? Not saying a word. Check it out Tuesday and you will see everything that I thought. Now, it's in my top 10 list, I'm going to warn you guys, like it's not, if you look back and see the reviews and see how I scored everything, with a little bit of time and distance, like looking back and feeling some emotions about some of these readings, I'm ranking them as I feel after a bit of time. So if I have some above and under how they actually ranked as I first read them, that's totally cool. That's totally cool. I know that's going to happen because as I move further down the road of the year and I'm starting to let things filter through and think about them a little bit longer, and which ones do I keep coming back to and think about more, which moments keep popping up in my head as I move forward into other reads, all that's going to impact and filter into my top 10 list. So it's not going to be like, hey, I rated these 4.5 or 5, so that means they have to be at the top. Chances are they probably will be, but I mean, they're not going to be exact that way because as I suck in air and breathe and live and move on, things just kind of live and change in my soul. So that's going to be reflected in this list. So there's that. That's coming up for this week. Other than that, guys, wow, I don't have a lot. Just have a great time. A little bit of TV news. I am caught up with Legacy Monarch of Monsters. A lot of fun. This week's episode was, I thought they really started to nail the dual timelines and switching back and forth. I started to think that that's really starting to pay off for me. I really enjoyed it. I'm caught up on For All Mankind. I went on about that last week. If you're not watching it, if you have Apple Plus, that is a top S tier show. You got to check it out. And the other thing I really got caught up on is Jack Reacher. I'm not a fan of Lee Child's books. I've never read any. I'm not against reading any. I just haven't got into them. But I do dig this show. I mean, I've heard some rumors and some whisperings that he would be a great Batman in James Gunn's relaunch of the DCU. And man, thinking about it, he would be a very interesting choice. But yeah, Jack Reacher, if you haven't checked it out, if you kind of like that urban mercenary feel, that urban warrior that has an unflinching moral compass that is going to stand up for his friends and what's right and wrong. It's a great fun ride if you enjoy it. And the fight choreography is like, wow, it's brutal and it'll take you back. And I do enjoy it quite a bit. So that is pretty much it for me, guys. This is going to be a bit of a shorter check-in. I can't wait to get going on this. I can't wait to get my top 10 list out Tuesday. I can't wait to get my full review out of Glass Box by J. Michael Straczynski. Again, thank you, Blackstone Publishing and NetGalley, out on Thursday. And then we'll be right back here a week from today, living the life in 2024, seeing what that year has in store for us, checking in on this read. Hopefully, I'll be very close to finished, and we'll be moving on. I think after this, if I can get finished, I'm going to move on to my indie read, which is Andrew Meredith this month, and I cannot wait to get started on that. So thanks for checking in. Thanks for coming by. It has meant so much for me to join BookTube this year and be a part of this community. It has enriched my life in innumerable ways, and each and every one of you that leave a comment or check in with me just make me beyond glow. It has been such a privilege to meet each and every one of you and talk with you back and forth. So hit me up with a comment. How are you looking forward into the new year? What are the series or things you want to get done in 2024 that you have to have read, that you are looking forward to? What do you think about my choices? How do you think that top 10 list is going to go when it comes out on Tuesday? Hit me up with anything. I just love comments. I love talking to you guys. That's the whole reason we launched this channel. If you're checking us out and you haven't hit that little subscribe button or that like button right down there, oh man, click it. Trust me. Give it a click. It feels good if you click that button and become a part of the reading journey here with all of us. It's a really cool place to hang out and talk books. So hit that button and hit that thumbs up if you want. And that's it for me, guys. If you kind of found a few minutes or a little bit of time to check in with a reader friend on New Year's Eve before you hit the parties, that means you are book people. And in my book, that means you are the best people. Thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom. My name is John Minton, and this has been Talking Story.